Are you under eating without even realizing it? I'm not talking about dieting. I'm talking about skipping meals, living on coffee, snacking instead of eating full meals throughout the day, or barely getting enough protein to fuel a teenager, let alone a woman over 40. This habit is one of the biggest reasons that women struggle with fatigue, mood swings, stubborn weight, brain fog, and crappy sleep in perimenopause. And it's not just about feeling tired or moody. Under eating slows down your thyroid. It slows down your metabolism, it messes with your hormones, and sets you up for blood sugar dysregulation, which can lead to insulin resistance and even diabetes. So if you've been spinning your wheels with supplements, testing, fancy protocols, but you're still not feeling well, my hope is that this episode is your wake-up call. So I see women spending thousands of dollars on fancy testing, parasite cleanses, functional medicine doctors, supplements, and even complicated programs. Yet they're not doing the one thing that would actually support their thyroid, metabolism, mood, energy, and sleep. And that is eating enough of the right foods. It blows my mind how many women come to work with us who are in their 40s struggling with a variety of perimenopause symptoms, and they're desperate for answers. But when we look at how they're eating, it's not even adequate for a child, let alone a grown woman in perimenopause. Skipping meals, eating highly processed carbohydrates, skimping on protein and fiber, grazing all day versus eating well-balanced meals, eating processed junk food like protein bars, or following a low-calorie plant-based diet, these things are not harmless. They are impacting your hormones. They're slowing down your thyroid function, your metabolism, dysregulating your blood sugar, and like I said earlier, increasing your risk of insulin resistance, which we do not want. Now, you may be blaming your symptoms on your hormones or perimenopause, but you are making your symptoms way worse by undereating. And most women don't even realize they're undereating, hence why I'm doing this episode. So I want to give you some examples of what that may look like in real life. You may be skipping breakfast because you think that you should be fasting. So you're running on black coffee until lunch. Or you eat a protein bar with a little bit of fruit and you think that that's enough fuel. You may be grabbing snacks throughout the day instead of sitting down for 3 full main meals. You may think that a green salad with some chicken or beans for lunch is enough to keep you satiated. You eat a lot of processed carbs like toast or bagels, but skimp on protein. You may think that 2 eggs at breakfast is enough. It's not. Or you're still stuck in the mindset of eating as little as possible to quote unquote manage your weight. Well, how's that going for you? Look, I don't want to be fresh, but when you don't eat enough, your body doesn't just say, oh, well, we'll get some next time. No, it makes adjustments, especially when you've been doing this for a long time, chronically undereating, which we see all the time with women who come to work with us. The things that tend to happen are it can impact your thyroid, like I said. Your body slows metabolism down because it thinks that there's a famine. That's why you're exhausted, foggy, and cannot lose weight no matter what you do. It also impacts your progesterone and estrogen. These hormones are important if you've been following along on the podcast. You need adequate calories, including protein, fats, and quality carbs to ovulate and make hormones. Without it, you're going to see mood swings, hot flashes, irregular cycles, anxiety, crappy sleep, and your perimenopause symptoms are going to get worse. It also impacts testosterone when you don't eat enough. So undereating accelerates muscle loss and drains your motivation and your libido. It also impacts your nervous system. An underfueled body is a stressed body. So undereating keeps you in fight or flight, which worsens anxiety, irritability, as well as poor sleep. And lastly, it impacts your blood sugar. I said this 3 times already because I want you to understand this. When you skip meals or you snack on just carbs without ample protein, sorry, but that avocado toast that you love is not enough protein. This is going to cause blood sugar roller coasters. And over time, this leads to insulin resistance and yes, even diabetes, even in women who are thin. So when I hear women say, I don't know why I'm so tired, anxious, or stuck at this weight, but they're barely eating or not eating enough good quality whole foods, I kind of want to scream. So one thing that we do hear often from women is they'll say, but I'm just not hungry, especially first thing in the morning. Loss of appetite is not a good thing. It's usually a sign of burnout or cortisol dysregulation. And high cortisol first thing in the morning is usually a result of what's happening overnight. And that could be blood sugar dips, okay? And that is from not eating properly the day before. And that, of course, is impacting your nervous system. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't feel hungry, it doesn't necessarily mean that your body doesn't need food or fuel. It means that you're running on stress hormones. Now, I'm not saying that you need to eat as soon as you wake up. I don't do that myself. I tend to wake up around 6:30. I have my water, my matcha, and then around 8 or 9 is when I typically will have breakfast. Sometimes I eat earlier if I'm really hungry, or if I'm working out, I may have a small snack beforehand. Then I would have my main breakfast after that workout. But the point is, you cannot just run on coffee until noon and expect your hormones to function well. And yes, there are studies that support fasting, and there's a lot of people out there that are teaching women how to fast, which really just puts you into a calorie deficit. I understand the reasoning behind it when it comes to weight loss, but most women, at least the ones that we have seen, are doing it incorrectly, and they end up under eating because they have to squeeze all their meals into a very restrictive window of time. And then the longer you go without eating, the more your blood sugar crashes, your thyroid slows down, and your nervous system stays stuck in survival mode. Your body needs nourishment. Start with something small in the morning, like a protein shake, eggs, or Greek yogurt. Over time, your hunger cues will come back. Now, I know you may be thinking, Claudia, I'm exhausted. I work 40 plus hours a week. I'm juggling family, my health issues, and the last thing I want to do is cook or meal prep. And I get it. Truly, I really do. That is a whole other conversation, though, about how women today are working around the clock, doing, and honestly, at what cost? You can be ambitious and driven, but constantly burning the candle at both ends is not serving your health. It is why the majority of women come to work with us. Most of them are over 40, they're driven, they're ambitious, they are smart, educated, successful women, but they feel like shit, okay? This is not serving us in our 40s. I myself had to take a hard look at my own work-life balance the last few years, and I can tell you, we need a paradigm shift. We need to get back to nourishing ourselves with real food and gentle, safe movement. The good news is, it doesn't need to take hours and hours in the kitchen. For me, it's all about efficiency. I'll hard boil a dozen eggs at the beginning of the week. I'll throw a tray of chicken thighs in the oven while I'm doing other things on a Sunday. I make shredded chicken in my Instant Pot in 20 or so minutes. I keep cans of wild-caught salmon or tuna in the pantry, pre-washed salad boxes in the fridge, and frozen organic vegetables on hand so I can build meals really quickly. And yes, there are some grab-and-go options that can help, but just use caution because many of them have poorly sourced ingredients, junky oils, and when it comes to protein bars, please don't just rely on these. Again, a lot of those are filled with junk and will just send your blood sugar on a roller coaster. Occasionally, I will have a perfect bar, more so as a treat, or I will keep grass-fed beef or turkey sticks handy for emergencies. But my favorite option when I do need something quick, or if I didn't hit my protein goals for the day, is a protein shake. I personally use Equip Prime Protein, and so do most of our clients. You've heard me say over and over again how important it is to consume ample protein. As we lose hormones in perimenopause, it is vital to balance our blood sugar and increase lean muscle mass. Protein is one way of doing that, and too many women underconsume this vital macronutrient. While I recommend getting the majority of your protein from whole foods, I'm also a realist and know that life gets busy and sometimes you just need something on the go. Equip Prime Protein is my go-to grass-fed, non-GMO protein powder. Our clients love it, and it comes in a bunch of delicious flavors, or unflavored if you prefer. You can throw it into a shake, mix it with yogurt, make protein pancakes, or whip up a hot beverage. Try it yourself at equipfoods.com/healthcoachclaudia and save 15% with code healthcoachclaudia. So what does fueling your body actually look like? Here are some basics. eat 3 main meals per day with protein, fat, and quality carbs. For example, for breakfast, you may be eating 3 eggs plus a serving of Greek yogurt, which should get you to about 30 grams of protein and maybe 1 cup of berries. Start your day like that with protein, with fiber. This is going to stabilize your blood sugar and set the tone for energy and mood throughout the day. Stop just living on caffeine alone. Whether you like your coffee or matcha first thing in the morning or alongside your breakfast, it doesn't really matter, unless of course you're dealing with morning anxiety and really bad moods. In that case, I do recommend skipping caffeine on an empty stomach. But you want to be getting some sort of fuel in at some point in the morning hours, okay? And then, of course, eat enough calories. Most active women, meaning if you're moving your body daily, whether it's walking or training in some way, you need probably 1,800 to 2,000 calories to function well, not the 1,200 calorie diets that we were fed in the 90s. And then, of course, choose quality protein and fat and carbs. Look for pasture-raised, grass-fed, organic, when budget allows. Animal protein especially is important for your thyroid, muscle growth, and hormone support. When it comes to oils, swap canola and vegetable oil for olive oil, coconut oil, or even real butter. Instead of bagels, pancakes, English muffins, toast, opt for fresh fruit, maybe some gluten-free oats, a piece of quality sourdough bread without preservatives, or make protein pancakes with cottage cheese or quality protein powder if you want something a little different. Look, this is about eating like a grown woman who values her energy, brain, body, and long-term health. And if you want more info on this, I will link to an older episode that I did about the perimenopause diet that I recommend. At the end of the day, you can't supplement or train your way out of an underfed body. If you want to feel clear-headed, energized, calm, and confident, you have to be eating enough of the right foods. So if you're listening to this and realizing that you've been underfueling for years, please let this be your wake-up call. Stop treating your body like it doesn't deserve nourishment, because it does. And if you need help putting all of this into practice, this is exactly what we do inside the Perimenopause Method program. We teach you how to fuel your body properly, support your hormones, address imbalances, and finally feel like yourself again. All right, please share this episode with another woman in your life, and I will see you next time. Hey, before you go, if you're ready to get educated, empowered, and feel your best in your peri years and beyond, grab my must-have guide for women 40 plus navigating hormone changes via the link in the show notes. You'll learn my top 5 strategic diet and lifestyle changes to make ASAP to support your declining hormones and get back your energy, improve your mood, and confidence. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.